And now our musicians will bring us a wonderful song to open the service.
Good morning, everybody. How you doing? Good, good, good. Are you happy to be alive? I know I am, too. I am listening to the music of the Holy Spirit. Oh, what a song God is singing. I will listen all day long. I will listen all day long. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Hallelujah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Hallelujah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Hallelujah. I am lifting in the love of the Holy Spirit. Oh, what a joy God is being. Praise the Spirit all day long. Praise the Spirit all day long. Come on, y'all. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Hallelujah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Hallelujah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Hallelujah. I am moving to the rhythm of the Holy Spirit. This dance of life, God inspired, keeps me dancing. My faith is strong, keeps me dancing. My faith is strong. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Hallelujah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Hallelujah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Hallelujah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Hallelujah. Oh yeah, hey yeah. Hallelujah.
Perfect, huh? Just think. I watched this service online, and it was this. I was last on Labor Day. I was in the Santa Cruz Mountains, and I was at a jazz concert. And what we have in common with that jazz concert is they did this too. When they would announce the song, somebody would put a sock on the microphone. Anyway, my name is Anthony Prado. I'm a board member here at Oakland Center for Spiritual Living, and we want to say welcome everybody to this bright and sunny, beautiful Sunday morning here. And of course, we want to thank our musicians, Sandra Manning, awesome interpretation of Ricky Barr's Beckwith song, and on piano, Sandra Manning, and of course, on vocals, Luke Frank. Yes, thank you. Again, thank you. So we also want to say welcome to those who are live streaming or on YouTube today, and a special welcome to those joining us for the first time. And we probably have maybe visitors online that we don't know about, and we welcome you to the service. We also want to wave at the camera and say hello, live streamers and YouTubers. If you're here for the first time in the sanctuary, can you please raise your hand? Because if you are, the ushers, someone's over here, the ushers have a gift for you. It's a welcoming packet that we hand out to those visiting. Okay, well, at this time, we want to honor the children, wherever they are. Children are a very important part of our community, important part of the world. And yes, there is the slide. So we want to say this prayer, this blessing to the children, wherever they are. So let's say it all together. We honor all our youth and children in our community and the world. We love you. We see you. You are a Spirit's gift to us. Thank you for being in our lives. And so it is. And I always feel like prayer, I've been thinking a lot about prayer. It's just an energy. I think it's the highest form of positive thinking. And we bless the children. We don't see them, we don't know, but I think, of course, we're all children too, children of God. But the blessing is out there, the energy and the vibration is out there. Well, we have Reverend Jerry's going to come up and give us more of an introduction to the blessing we have today of our speakers, Reverend Eloise and grandson, Lucian. But, yes, she'll be saying more about that. But in my announcements, the blessing continues because Reverend Eloise is going to be here she's going to be on Zoom Wednesday night. Reverend Eloise will continue to enlighten us as she continues the September theme of Reaching Higher. Meditation is at 6:30, the service at 7. And again, Wednesday night services will continue on Zoom. This is the only one we're doing live for now. Well, we're doing both. It's a hybrid. Okay, so next announcement. Friday night, September 24th, and Friday, and Saturday, September 25th, we're going to have the Courtyard Church Bazaar. This is a Marie Kondo clear off the stage sale. An uncluttering, if you will. We're not accepting any new donations. There's an abundance of great items for sale, so mark your calendars. Again, that's September 24th and September 25th. September 18th, which I believe is next Saturday, is Coastal Cleanup Day to take part and to be part of keeping our coast a place of relaxation and enjoyment and clean. You're welcome to sign up and go to this event. It is on the events page in the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living Center website. It's on the events page. And then, every month we honor a nonprofit here, as most of you know. And at this time of the year, we're actually asking for people to submit applications of their nonprofit. It's nonprofit partner application time for 2022. This program has been a major success and has forged many bonds between Oakland Center nonprofit organizations and really the community of Oakland and the East Bay. When we honor these people, we give them a good exposure here. Please nominate your favorite nonprofit by October 1st. The application is on the website, also in the Village News. The Board of Trustees has sent an email to members about the new Minister Search Committee. So if you want to voice your opinion and you really can dedicate the time to this, please look at that application. Check your email if you're interested. The application is on the home page of the website. There's also going to be another email sent out today. The president of the Board of Trustees, Robert Leeds, told me that another email will be sent out today. It's going to be answering questions because apparently he's getting questions about the process. And we're going to be giving you subsequent updates on how that process is going, the committee, the selection, and things like that. So stay tuned. Speaking of Zoom, Zoom has a new update policy. If you want all the details, ask Constance or email her at constance@oaklandcsl.org. The bottom line is if you want to continue to access Zoom easily, make sure you have the latest version of their software. Put it on your calendar, update at least every 6 months. If you'd like to make a memorial donation, Reverend Jeff's family is asking you to donate to the Capital fundraiser for the CSL Youth Camp. The link is on the CSL homepage. So that's csl.org, or our homepage, Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. And then the compliance team is requesting that you please exit the sanctuary immediately after the service using the 2 exit doors here. Our minister will be out in the courtyard if you'd like to greet her and him. So we have many things going on here, as you can see. We strongly recommend that you check out the website and look at there for the updates of what's going on with the different ministries. And then lastly, we are going to read our mission and vision statement. There it is. Very good. Okay. Let's all read it together. The vision of Oakland Center for Spiritual Living is to joyfully reveal the love and oneness of God. We are a welcoming and inclusive spiritual community dedicated to individual transformation for collective growth. Love, serve higher, and serve our community through education, music, prayer, and play. And so it is. Noise time. Yeah.
Good morning. I'm Eloise Young, and I'm a practitioner here. And I have a couple of readings for you today on our topic, Transcend and Include. The first one is from Science of Mind magazine, August 1962. To be spiritually minded is to be whole-minded. To be whole-minded is to be holy. It means we realize the complete unity of God and its creation. It means that we understand the complete unity and close relationship of all life and are individually responsive alike to everyone. The second reading is from Reverend Michelle Senegal. To live our espoused values and the principle of oneness, we must transcend any illusions of separateness. Our ability to transcend enhances our ability to be more inclusive. And so in this feeling of transcending and inclusion, I know that I am included in the oneness of God, that I am one with this one, and everyone here and anyone on live stream is one with this one. All who are part of this service, the musicians, our speakers, Reverend Eloise and Lucian Baker, all of the tech team, anyone who has anything to do with this service is divinely guided today and is blessed and is blessing us. I know that Lucian speaks the word and Reverend Eloise speaks the word, that God speaks through them and brings us everything that we need today. And each one takes home exactly what they need. And so I'm blessing this service, knowing in the mind of God it is done, and I give thanks for it. It is done. It is so, and so it is. And now, I think we have a special message from Robert Leeds that Anthony alluded to. So here he is.
All right. Now it's a mask. Now it's a yarmulke. Very versatile. Hi, it's me, Robert Leeds, your friendly neighborhood Jewish Buddhist scientist shaman, here to talk to you about the Jewish High Holy Days, also known as the Days of Awe. We have a full agenda today, so I'm going to try to keep this short. I'll start with a basic description of the holidays and then talk about some of the symbols and rituals associated with them, and then go into a little more depth on the spiritual significance. As we know, at not only Oakland Center for Spiritual Living, but at Centers for Spiritual Living, as a whole, we honor the wisdom teachings of all spiritual traditions, as you can see from the pennants on the back wall. So, the High Holy Days are a 10-day period of time in the fall, which begin with Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, and end with Yom Kippur, often translated as the Day of Atonement. Rosh Hashanah started at sundown last Tuesday. Why do Jewish days start at sundown? Because in the book of Genesis, it says, there was darkness and there was light the first day. So the darkness precedes the light. There's a teaching right there. The High Holy Days are about self-examination, forgiveness, repairing relationships, repentance, and self-renewal and new beginnings. It's also very community-oriented. It's partly about becoming a better person by bettering our relationships. Rosh Hashanah is a 2-day celebration that's followed by a week of where we make amends for our transgressions and commit to live a better life, which culminates in Yom Kippur, which is the most solemn and holy day in the Jewish calendar. Rosh Hashanah, by the way, literally translates as head of the year. Rosh is head, Ha is the, Shana is year. It's a Jewish New Year. Yom Kippur is most often translated as a Day of Atonement, and I invite you maybe to think of that as at-one-ment. So the High Holy Days are both a celebration, but also a reckoning. Let's talk a minute about symbols and rituals. Let's start, as all great cultures do, with food. There are symbolic foods that are eaten on these holidays. On Rosh Hashanah, we dip apples in honey for a sweet new year. We also eat a round challah, which is the egg bread that is filled with raisins. The roundness celebrates the circular nature of the year, and again, the raisins are to enhance the sweetness. We also eat pomegranates, the seeds representing abundance and new beginnings. Now, on the other end of the High Holy Days is Yom Kippur, where we don't eat at all. It's a fasting day, and that fasting is seen as an act of sacrifice, purification, and also a call for empathy for those who are less fortunate. We also sound the shofar, which is the ancient ram's horn. That's done many times throughout the High Holy Days. It's not a soothing sound, it's a blaring. It is not New Age music to get a massage by. It's supposed to wake you up. It's saying, pay attention, this is your life. There's a ritual that some Jews observe during this holiday period called Toshlich, which means casting off. It's the practice of taking breadcrumbs representing one's misdeeds or regrets and throwing them into some form of moving water, a body of moving water, whether it's a river or the ocean. And that's a physical expression of the internal spiritual and emotional work that's being done during this time. So, what are these holidays all about? The story of the High Holy Days is that God is judging the world. Now, we know that in contemporary spiritual thought, judgment is not a particularly good word. Let us say people have a lot of judgment about judgment. But we can reframe the idea. Think about what judges do. They study and apply the law. Judging is about evaluating evidence and making a considered decision. It's about choice. So in this case, God will be making a life and death decision about each one of us based on our actions and our consciousness. For observant Jews, this is no joke. God is holding the world by a thread. It is considered that tenuous. This is God as OG. On Rosh Hashanah, God writes everyone's name in either the book of life or the book of death. And then on Yom Kippur, those books get sealed. And what you do between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur can influence the outcome, but no pressure. Now, I know that sounds intense, and it's not supposed to be fun. Spiritual growth does not come from doing easy things. It's meant to be a challenge. It's a way of saying, step up to your life. It forces us to engage with the possibility, indeed the inevitability, of our own death. And the point of that is to spur action, to cultivate your spiritual life, to attend to your relationships, and to work for justice in the world. So it really is an opportunity to realign our priorities and commitments, to transform ourselves and our relationship to the world. We are given this opportunity to set the values and goals that will guide our year. And then God gives us the type of year that we ourselves have chosen through our consciousness. Ernest Holmes would totally get that. In an essay by Rabbi Asher Resnick, he writes, ask yourself, if I was born this very instant, without the constraints of my various past habits and patterns, what would I do? How would I ideally want to live this brand new year? It's an opening to establish a fresh new direction. It's an opportunity to remake ourselves anew. It's very much in line with that wonderful quote from Howard Thurman, keep fresh before me the moments of my high resolve. That's really what the High Holy Days are all about. It's a chance to heal the breach of separateness that we have each created in our fundamental relationships, whether that's with ourselves, with God, with other people, or with the world. So let me conclude with my favorite Hebrew prayer that is said not only on Rosh Hashanah, but whenever we do something new, or for the first time in a calendar year, or to express gratitude for a joyous occasion. It's often referred to as the Shehekianu, and it goes like this. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech ha'olam, Shehekianu, v'ki imanu, v'higlianu lazman hazeh, which translates as, blessed are you, eternal Spirit, ruler of the universe, who has given us life, sustained us, and allowed us to reach this season. I wish you all a sweet new year, Lashana Tova. May you be written and sealed in the book of life for a year abundant in love and connection. Thank you.
I'm going to do another one from Ricky Byers, Beckwith, called Heavenly Body. When talking about transcendence, this is a song that has always brought me out of a low space and back into a better space when I needed it. So. Heavenly body, flesh this time, born to love and born to shine. Heavenly body, flesh as me, born to dance, born to be free, born to fly, born to feel, born to cry and born to hear, born to fly, born to feel, born to cry and born to hear. Heavenly body on the screen, what I desire in this scene is to play the part I came to play, share some love along the way, born to fly, born to care, born to fly and born to share, born to fly, born to care, born to cry and born to share. So searching, so searching. I know it made the stars and moon above me. It's deep within my soul, it really loves me. Heavenly body, flesh this time. You better love, you better shine. Heavenly spirit, flesh as me, born to love, born to be free, born to love, born to be free, born to love, born to be free. So searching, so searching, so searching, so searching.
Soul Searching. Sandra Manning and Luc Manfranc, we are so blessed. Thank you. Thank you. And we truly are blessed today because a vision came into fruition. Paul Persudi and I were having a little conversation one day, and we said, it'd be so nice to have Lucian back on the pulpit. And wouldn't that be amazing if his grandmother, Reverend Eloise Oliver, joined as the dynamic duo? And that's what we have today. So we're very, very excited. So let me tell you a little bit about Reverend Eloise Oliver, fondly known as Reverend E. She began her religious science journey right here at our center when we were known as First Church of Religious Science, way back when. She was first a congregant, then a practitioner, and then, of course, a minister. She served up until she assumed the pulpit at the East Bay Church of Religious Science. Now, we were talking about how long she's been in ministry, so we're thinking it's maybe 35 or 40 years, but we know that she's a wise and wonderful soul forever in her forever youngness. So she considers our center here, Oakland Center, as her spiritual home, as many of us do. And she's a regular participant on the third Wednesday satsang that we have. And as you can see, she'll be on a double header this week. She'll be with us on Wednesday as well. I know that she enlightens us, and she's just a brilliant woman, and she has an amazing grandson with Lucian Baker. So I am very, very honored to welcome Lucian to the pulpit and Reverend E to the pulpit, and so we're in for a treat today, so let's warmly welcome them. Yeah.
Good morning. Yeah, I remember when this place actually had pews. I remember that. I also remember when I used to get in trouble for always hiding under the pews. I got my practitioner license at age 23. And right away, people were asking me if I was going to go to ministerial school right after that. And I knew that there was something missing, which is why I had to slow down and allow myself to experience life. When I think of my grandmother, Reverend Margaret, Reverend Jeff, so many amazing ministers that I've had the opportunity to be around, I think about people who've gone through things. And growing up in Science of Mind especially, and the family I've been in, I've been very sheltered. And I knew I needed to go through some experiences. Earlier we talked about how the darkness embraces the light. I grew up, where's my son at? Cover your ears, boy. I grew up afraid of the dark, okay? And something my grandmother used to always tell me was, if you're afraid of something, that's your opportunity to learn more about it. And this thing about the darkness, I don't know. I can't see anything. I don't know what's about to happen, especially if it's dark and quiet. Oh, my God, I cannot handle that. And then I think about how everything begins in the dark. The universe itself is pitch black. The very belly that we all grew up and sprouted in, it was dark in there. To transcend, we must embrace the darkness. It's all the same thing. If you're a hip-hop fan like me, you know this year especially, we had a lot of transitions. A lot of transitions. And DMX was a very special individual. Because you may hear this man's lyrics and think, oh my goodness, what a terrible person to be around. I don't want to meet this guy DMX, but He got this reality show where he moved to Arizona and he's away from New York City and he's in nature and looking at cacti, and we get to see just how gentle this man is and how spiritual this man is. And we realize, at least me, I realized that this is a man who went through things and had a very soft and open heart. When it comes to God, when it comes to the light, when it comes to our philosophy, I'm talking about myself now. I realize that I like to cherry pick the things that I feel are good, and the other stuff, I don't want to deal with that. And so we say God is all there is nothing else. We say it just so boldly, and oh my God, I love how we say it. And then the moment I may see a police car, the moment I may see, I hope I don't offend anybody, a Karen, I get, oh my goodness, I get in my feelings. Reverend Michael Beckwith says that if you can see it, it is part of you. I always love hearing that because then I get all materialistic, like, yeah, that G-Wagon right there. You know what I'm saying? That's a part of me. And then there's the other side of that I don't like so much. Those things that bother me, yeah, I'm connected to that. There's a reason it's bothering me. If it's bothering me, there's a disconnect that I need to address. And here's the other part I don't like about it. The solution that I can see. I get to be that. When I get to talk about, oh, we need a hero, we need a leader, and yeah, it's you. And I don't like that very much. I don't want to be the leader. I want to complain and somebody else take care of my complaints. Hey, Auntie. In order to transcend, we must include. There is no way around it. I love looking at college football, especially, just college sports. Because that's the time where it's not, I mean, it's a business, but it's not a business like, it's not a corrupt business yet. And every year, especially with college football, the team that has the most diversity is the team that always wins. If your kicker is an American kicker, I'm sorry, y'all not going to do it, man. You have to have a foreign kicker to win. I'm sorry. Inclusion is what wins. In order to transcend, in order to sprout out, in order to know our fullest potential, we must embrace all of it. We have to look at that darkness right there and say, that is God. I don't want a squeaky clean minister, y'all. I don't. I've gone through things. I was raised in East Oakland, California. I'm gonna frighten you if we're not able to include and see that we come from different walks of life, to look at that darkness and see God there. That's what I need, because we all get into our stories. A recovering addict told me that. He said the only thing that we're addicted to is our own story. That's all we're addicted to. We say it's the substance. No, it's your story. Without the story, there's no substance. I have so many funny stories about my grandmama. One of my favorites, though, is how I used to always tell grandmama on my mom whenever I wasn't getting my way. If I wanted junk food at the end of the night, or wanted to watch, what was it at that time? Beavis and, all right, you get it. And mom would be like, no, I would always just, okay, it's cool, and, behind her back, and yeah, she won't let me, and, grandma was my henchman. And I loved it, and now he does the same thing to me. This is the beautiful circle we all get to be a part of. In an interview, long before he passed, DMX says, it's funny how people say they want to get the old DMX from the first two albums. Remember those first two albums? Remember that? He says, people want that so bad from me. And then they turn around and say, but without the addiction, though. And he laughed But it was a laugh of pain because he said, y'all don't even realize I was high for both of those albums. Let's stop looking at the pain of our lives as something bad. Look at how beautiful you are. Look at how beautiful you are. You don't have the view. Look at this right now. These are the faces of God. Look around right quick. Without the pain, we wouldn't have this right now. The pain is the best part. It took pain for you to be here. Ask your mama. We don't transcend until we look at that and say, that is God, and I'm glad it's here. And even though I don't understand it, I trust the universe. And the universe can't give me anything that's not for my greater good. Okay, we clapping, but let's be honest. When we start seeing signs of that darkness coming back up, that's the only part I don't like about this pulpit thing is, when I start going through things, we're like, okay, but I heard you say, I don't care what I said. The pain is the best part. See, there's two kinds of Warrior fans right now. They're the ones who are really angry that they bought these season tickets and the Warriors ain't winning like they used to. They're the ones who have been Warrior fans for a very long time, and they're like, wait a minute, if you're a Warriors fan, why are you mad about them losing? We only got good within the last few years. If you're a Warrior fan like I am, losing is not really a new thing. You just now mad about them losing? You ain't been a Warrior fan that long. See, I remember when the whole Bay was full of Lakers fans. I remember that first ring Steph got us, though. See, a lot of people were there for the parade. But those of us who got laughed at our whole lives for being Warriors fans, oh my goodness. We stayed in them streets and we cried tears of joy. Nobody got to feel those tears who wasn't there for the bad part, though. You were robbed of it. You had your Kobe jersey on and, oh, wait, we're winning now? Let me just, okay. That's easy to do. What about those times when all we had was Joe Smith and Manute Bol, and those were the dark days. And once that sun starts shining again, we can celebrate that much harder. Life is nothing but a party, y'all. You know that. And when the party starts to get whack, it's time to just sit down and let some other people dance for a while. It's all right. It'll be your turn to dance again. I have to say this because it's on my heart. My family still calls this place First Church. There's a responsibility there. Let's remember that all these other New Thought churches in the Bay, yeah, we sparked that here, though. And with that comes the responsibility, which means that when the rest of everyone else may look at something, judge it, be afraid of it, whatever, we get to look at it and say, you don't fool me, God. I see you right there. Amen. So that means the next time you may hear some really loud rap music you don't like, when you may see a youth with pants sagging way lower than you think they should be sagging, when you hear somebody using language you feel isn't the appropriate language, can we look at that and say, that's God right there? Let's stop telling the youth, when are you going to make some positive raps? Do you know how insulting that is? So you're telling me from the gate that my raps aren't positive? Oh, so because I'm talking about killing and rap, I'm not doing it, though. I'm rapping about it, which means that instead of doing it, I'm finding an outlet for it. That child may have only seen those things growing up. Now, I remember when I was a lot younger, there was that thing called so-and-so's terrible, rotten, no good, rotten day or whatever. Y'all remember that? How was that any different from a gangster rap song? He's talking about his rotten day. He's talking about a day where it was the most terrible day of his life, and instead of going out and beating kids up like what bullies do, he wrote about it. It's the same exact thing. We want our children to rap about something different. Let's expose them to something different. Nas' second album, It Was Written. He has a song called I Gave You Power. And in that song, he raps from the perspective of a gun and talking about what a gun goes through and how a gun just gets used for things it doesn't want to get used for. And the gun is like, why are you using me like that? I don't even want to be used this way. He's rapping from the perspective of a gun. It's a brilliant song. But if we're caught up in how things should sound, oh, well, I don't like the way it sounds and it's not the way I would express things, then you're missing the blessing of that song. I know people who were like, dude, I used to carry my weapon all the time until I heard that song. What am I saying, y'all? I'm saying that in order to transcend, we must be inclusive. There is no other way. There is no other way, and this is the first church of religious science. All we do is include and transcend here. That's what we do. That's why we get to be the first. I love being arrogant. I'm sorry. I just love the fact that Oakland CSL is the first. I could do that. Before I bring the queen up, in high school, there was that team, De La Salle High School. It was very easy to hate them if you didn't go to that school because they were the only school that got to recruit players and not get in trouble for it. And so every year, you just know, like, all right, well, hopefully we can make second this year. Like, you're not going to beat De La Salle. You know that. My senior year, we were the only team that had a chance of beating them, they said. And they whooped us 49-7. And we got that 7 in the fourth quarter. They was just tired of, they were just tired at that point. What I'll say about De La Salle, you look at that team even today, and you see all different shades, all different nationalities, all different backgrounds. And they continuously have a winning streak that goes for decades because can't nobody see them. And the reason why is because inclusion is how you win. Whatever is in your life right now that you don't want there, don't not want it there, hug it, embrace it, look at it, love it, because you are a champion. And this is how we transcend. Come on up here, Grandmama.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. I want you to do, as all of you know, I'm Pentecostal. So let's just praise God. Let's slap your hands. So many times people say, well, how did I live to be 90? And that's one of the ways I live to be 90. Is that in the tips of your fingers, there's nerve endings. And when you slap your hands, you stimulate your whole body. And if you have a pain, if you do like this and slap your hand and put your hand on that pain, you can heal your own body. And so coming from that background, we knew a lot of African healing techniques, and I still practice that. And I would like to see more participation, because you didn't come out here to be entertained. Like, this young man is a great singer, but when he was singing, oh, yeah, hey, yeah, I thought, why ain't nobody singing but him? Everybody know that. That's a call and response. In the country, when I was coming up, nobody could read. So the minister was probably the only one who could read in the community. He said, "Amazing grace, how sweet it sounds, that saved a wretch like me." So then everybody in the group would say, "Amazing grace, how sweet the sound. I once was lost, but now I'm found. I was blind, but now I see. And then they would sing. And so I didn't know why we were sitting here. They had me sitting over there. And I said, I want to sit where the singer is. Because actually, that's the person that brings you the message. Because you get to participate. I don't believe in entertainment churches. No, you didn't come out here to be entertained. Because I can't give you anything that you don't already have. I can't give you anything that you don't already have.
Can we have you take your mask off?
Oh, I
They
thought,
can hear you in the back much better. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you.
oh, all right. I'm trying to follow protocol because I don't think it makes any sense at all. It gets so ridiculous that I try to eat healthy. So I roasted myself some almonds before I left, and I put them in a little bowl because I was driving myself and I started to have something to munch on to keep myself comfortable on the highway. I had an accident about a month ago, and I was hit from the rear by a hit-and-run driver. And he went that way, and I was slammed against the hot part of the freeway where there's a wall. So my car door was against the wall. And I was in that little lane where the, am I supposed to take this off too? I guess not, I don't know. Where the policemen go down that little lane, it's for the police and the fire trucks. So my car was slammed against that wall, and I couldn't get out because right here, the lane of traffic was so fast that I had no way to get out. And I did what I always do and what I encourage you to do. I know the ministry of prayer number from my memory. So one thing I still got is my telephone. And I call the ministry of prayer. Because, as Lucian says, it's easy to talk this talk. I believe in God. I got the statement of declaration right here. I believe in God, the living Spirit Almighty, one indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause. This one manifests itself in and through all creation, but is not absorbed by its creation. The manifest universe is the body of God. It is the logical and necessary outcome of the infinite self-knowingness of God. I read it every day. I have it in a little sheet protector. And I read it every day because talk is cheap. And the hardest thing for us to do is to change our language. As soon as you change your language, everything else is just like that. It's just like that. The only thing between you and your divinity is learning how to change your language. When you change the language, that's all it is to that. And I talk about love a lot because I think that love is all there is. And I have proven it over and over and over again. And we made time. God did not make time. Man made time. And part of the language is loss. And of course, we had this celebration of my son-in-law yesterday. And ever since then, people say, I'm sorry for your loss. And as soon as we stop saying loss, That was the most triumphant life I've ever seen. Bobby was signed to a record label when he was 17. His sister was there, and she talked about how when he didn't know but one note, he annoyed the whole family practicing that one note for hours. And so he was just the epitome of love. And when I was told that Bobby had made his transition, the last time I saw him, he asked me to bring him some collard greens with okra because he liked the hospital food. So I did that. I took him that food. And the way I found out he had died, some of the members of the church put it on Facebook because I wasn't listed as somebody to tell or something like that. But anyway, he loved children. And anyway, I was like inconsolable. I cried and I wept and I went on like a crazy person. And something said to me, if Bobby was your son, he did his work. And he's gone. What about all that you've been promising to do? What about the book that you've been writing for years? What happened to that? And so, instead of you weeping and going on about Bobby, I believe you crying, talking to myself, I think you're crying about your own unfinished business. So what is it, and I'll put it back on you, when a practitioner prays, they say, I am one with God. And my word is this, and my word is that. And they constantly talk about your word. I'm speaking my word, and I declare this, and my word said so-and-so. And the practitioner is not reminding God. The practitioner has to say that until in their heart they know that. And the moment you get to where you know it, it's done. You can say, I give thanks, because that's done. Because the only person you're ever talking about is yourself. And God is not new to this. So you're not reminding God. And when I read these declaration of principles, I'm talking to me. Because we know there's 3 levels of mind. There's the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. And then there's a level of mind called the superconscious. So it's the subconscious mind. That's the darkness what Lucian was talking about. The subconscious mind is like a rubber band. If you don't you can stretch the subconscious mind. When you speak your word, you stretch in the subconscious mind. But if you don't tell it the same thing till it gets it, it'll pop right back to where it used to be. You can take all the classes in the world. If you don't do something to renew that stuff, when you hear it again, be just like the first time. But you got to tell yourself over and over and over again. And so I have a little book there called The Big Leap. And that book shows a fish in a small bowl leaping up into a larger bowl. That fish got to take a big risk to leap up in the larger bowl, because it could fall on the floor and die. It might miss the bowl, whatever, and he have no idea what's up there anyhow. And so our biggest fear is not knowing what's going to happen next. And so we stay in a pool of limitation because we weren't meant to know. the only thing you can know is what already happened. And we have gotten so comfortable with what already happened that we are afraid to live in the not knowingness. We don't like that's the darkness Lucian is talking about. We don't like the not knowingness. We want to know what's next. But let me tell you what the scripture said about that. It says, for eyes have not seen, and ears have not heard, nor has it been revealed in the hearts of mankind the good things that God has in store for them. So now, if you see it, it's way more than that. The power and presence of God in you is way more than you can imagine. So the reason you don't believe it is because you're looking at little old you. I never was too good at spelling. Or when I first came up that hill, I think I came up here this morning and said, I believe my last speeding ticket was coming up that same hill. Because I was identified as ADHD, something, attention deficit, hyperactive disorder, which means I was the worst kid in the room. But I was brilliant. So I finish my work and go around and disturb other people. It was so bad that I had a friend, she and I was little terrorists together. Teacher put her on that side and me in the back corner so that we were that far from each other. And like Lucian said, I would get down and I would crawl over to her seat. It was so bad that when my teacher would never look up, she said, stop talking, Eloise Dixon, and go back to your seat, Katie Ruth Swan. And I would be so glad when it wasn't me, but I would just really drill that in. But I'm saying that don't limit yourself by what you know about yourself. Don't limit yourself by what you know about yourself. And this thing, I wanted to talk about forgiveness. And I preach about love all the time because love is all there is. And I've practiced it on everybody. And my own husband, when he found out that I was going to this church, he said, I hear you going to that church where they don't believe in heaven and hell. Well, let me tell you one thing. All of y'all going to hell, okay? There is a heaven and hell, and y'all going straight to hell. And I practiced on him. If this thing is true, the only way you know is try it. And I tell you, I've started a thing at my church about people, committed partners, because good people don't get any press. What you hear, even myself, I have to confess, some kids had a party near where I live, and they partied, and after the party, they came out and they were yelling and clapping their hands, and one of these kids got in the car, and you could hear them making these circles, ee. And I was thinking, oh my God. Anyway, when I complained to my mother about how my children were bad and they were getting into this, Mama said, listen, children, you don't want no good children. Children who don't get into trouble ain't going nowhere. They got to have an inquisitive mind. They got to break the boundary that you put them in. Mama said when they were kids, they went out. I lived in a country where they had an outhouse. They went out one night and moved these people's outhouse about a foot back from where the outhouse was supposed to be. And of course, these people came out at night, and they're so used to the outhouse being right there. And they hid and watched this person step in all that manure. But this was a joke, but that's what kids do. And it's funny to trick. They start off tricking their parents. And another one of my grandkids, I took him shopping with me one day. And he was right here by me. I looked around. He couldn't be found. And I was all over the store. And I was looking. I said, oh my God, this boy's mama gonna have a fit. I can't go home without having to call over the PA system, call his name and all that. And when I found him, he wasn't tall enough to be seen over the rack of clothes. He was hiding between the clothes. I punked you, Grandmama. I said, boy, I'm gonna break your neck. But I'm talking about youth and how you were. You were not afraid. Nobody had slapped you upside the head or something. And so you knew you were God. You were born knowing that. And even now, when I was giving birth to my children weren't born with their eyes open. Doctor would put some kind of drops in their eyes, and after a day or two, they would open their eyes and look around. Kids nowadays are born looking at you and thinking, who are you? They look at you like my grandkids, they looking at you saying, who are you really? Because they know you were born knowing this. And our parents, they sang at Christmas time, sweet little Jesus boy. They didn't know who you were. But we didn't know, your parents didn't know who you were. And so in effort to help you, so to speak, they gave you their limitations and their idea of how you have to stay alive. But this practice of love, I declare I practiced on my husband until when he died. He died in a hit-and-run accident. He was in Pratt 2. So this is how I view, if this stuff works, try it. If love is all there is, and God is love, and God is everywhere present, you never know till you find some kind of difficult situation and try it. And then after that, you can say like Jesus, I know in whom I have believed. I know. Now, he never did come back to me and don't be expecting somebody to come back and say they're sorry. That just don't happen. But you pour the love on it and find out in your own mind, what does it mean to you? What does it mean? I have here, it says, for centuries love has been preached, yet the world still lives in darkness. There will be peace, love, and progress if the laws are practiced. You know, if you're going to wait till everything the politicians tell the truth, it may never happen. If you're going to wait till police brutality stop, you may not ever see it. For me, all I saw was the subjugation of women. And I argued about the Bible. I learned later on that Jesus had some women disciples, but it was written out of the book. And all I heard about was Eve caused Adam to fall. And Delilah caused Samson. Wasn't it Delilah that had Samson cut his hair? And all these women had done all these bad things. And I didn't believe it was true. And I was angry about that because I'm the oldest. And I put diapers on my brother, my baby brother. And when he grew up, I had to honor the baby whose butt I wiped. I didn't like that one bit. When the men would go out hunting at night, he my brothers could go out and stay out all night with the men when they went hunting. I had to stay home because I was a girl. So they had been hunting one night, and when they came back, I said, I want to go hunting with y'all. My brother said, you can't. No, I said, I want to shoot a gun like you do. He said, you can't shoot because you're a girl. He had no business to tell me that because I grabbed the shotgun, I threw it up in the air. When he really knew that I was going to shoot it, I was already on the floor because nobody told me a gun had a recoil. I threw that gun up and pulled that trigger, and my shoulder was limp for a long time. And my brothers messed with me like that because all they had to do was tell me I couldn't do it because I was a girl. And even if it was dangerous, I had to do that. I had to do that. And so if we were going to work on a farm, somebody else's farm, this truck driver would come in the neighborhood, and he would drive real slow. And the boss would come running out of whatever house they live in, and they'd grab hold of the truck, and they'd jump on the truck. Me, I had to sit down at the end of the street road where all the women and girls sat down there, and then he'd come and stop, and they'd help us up in the truck. I did not like that. So the next one day, they were coming in, and I jumped off the truck, and I fell. And the next day, it was a guy on the truck, that boy that wasn't related to me. He said, let me tell you how to jump off the truck. You wait till the truck has a very slow pace, and you jump off the truck. You start running in midair, and when you hit the ground, you roll the way the truck was going. So that, that's how you get hurt, but you can do it, but you have to learn how. And I learned from that. The only difference in me and my brother was somebody taught him how. The only difference in me and them is they have some knowledge that I didn't have. So when I came to First Church, my husband had went overseas and come back, and he had PTSD, and he was a crazy person, and he was fighting and going on, and I had to leave him. I ended up on welfare. My mother was going to Unity Church down on Lakeshore. She gave me this book by Jack Addington that's called Psychogenesis. Everything begins in mind. And in that book, he says, Jack Addington was an attorney. And he said he got tired of being an attorney and teaching people how to win cases against each other. He had learned a new thing when he learned what we call new thought. And now he wanted to teach people how they could come together and learn a new way of doing things. So my mother gave me that book, and he was speaking here at First Church. And I had never heard of First Church. So somebody told me, if you call AC Transit and ask them how to get there, they'll tell you what bus to catch to get up there. And I called AC Transit. And the person that answered said, the bus doesn't go up there on Sunday. It goes Monday through Friday to take the domestic help. I was so mad because I had been the domestic help. When I did get up here, Dr. Earl Evans was the minister of this church, and I jammed him. I said, you have this philosophy up here on a hill where you can't get here unless you got a car. If you own a car, at least you got some idea how life works. You got some kind of credit or some kind of money. But the folks in the valley have no way to get here. And they need to know this truth. They need to know this because they don't have to be poor. They don't have to do all that. They don't need to be crime. They don't need to be addicts. Addiction comes from pain. Anybody that's an addict, whether it's a food addict or a drug addict, they are doing it to numb their pain. And before they can quit the whatever's ailing them, you got to help them with the pain. And this philosophy will help them with the pain. You know what he said? Yes. This truth will help them with the pain. And you know what he said? He said, I couldn't agree with you more. He said, I already told my wife that I was getting ready to retire. Before I retire, I have to leave First Church, and I'll start a church in the valley on a bus line. So whether you have a car or not, you can get there. And that was our agreement. And that's how East Bay Church got started. And I told you how William said we was all going to hell. But the thing said, love will heal anything. And right here it says, if a wife finds that a husband with another woman, can she still love him? And can she still love the other woman as well? And we're not talking about loving in the good times. We're not talking about that. We're talking about unconditional love. God's love is not conditional. Else I probably wouldn't make it. You know, I wouldn't make the cut. If God was, you know, this sky God that's going to write down everything I've done on this side, and then over here, the Jewish brother talked about that. You know, I probably wouldn't make it. Somebody said, one woman said, you know, when I went to church and the preacher got through preaching, I knew I was going to hell. So I just went on out and used me some drugs. Love is not a sentiment. It is the discipline of see the good and the divine, or the possible good and the divine in yourself and in all of life. See the good or the possible good. Maybe you can't see the good already. Maybe you've been abused. Something horrible has happened to you. I've talked to so many women that have been raped. I just think it's very few women haven't had some kind of sexual abuse, some kind of physical abuse, because we live in a world where might makes right and the power over is practiced. We live in a capitalist culture where no matter how much you get, it's all right. It's enough money in our culture for everybody to eat. It's enough food thrown away for there's some people in Berkeley that started a restaurant over just leftovers. Absolutely. And so young people are proving this philosophy. I said, you know, the people in the street got the message long before the church, because they know that there's no need for poverty here. There's no need for that. And people are not addicts because they want to be addicts. Nobody wants to be an addict. Addiction comes from pain. And you can't punish the pain out of other people. And so we see everything as an opportunity to practice. I don't even like the word God because it means abuse to some people, especially to women. So I like to use infinite intelligence or divine wisdom and all that, but I go back to God because that's the limit of my language. And that's why I read what we believe. I keep telling myself that I'm not sorry for no loss. Because Bobby's life was not a loss. It was a triumph. He did everything he wanted to do, good or bad. He'd sing, the guitar would be louder than the choir. And sometimes he and the choir director would get into it because, Bobby, the bass supposed to be lower than, you're supposed to be the bottom and all that. And he'd go by him a guitar and stand out there and be louder than the choir and everybody else. But he fought a good fight. And he finished his course. I was weeping about my own unfinished business. I believe in the incarnation of the Spirit in all, and that I am an incarnation of the one Spirit. I believe in the eternality, the immortality, and the continuity of the individual soul forever and ever expanding. Why in the world am I crying? Because somebody gone. This is what I said I believe. I believe in the eternality, the immortality, and the continuity of the soul forever expanding. Nobody's gone nowhere. I believe in the kingdom. I believe that the kingdom of heaven is within me, and that I experience this kingdom to the degree that I become conscious of it. That the kingdom of heaven is right here and right now. It is. But I got to reach the level of understanding that I believe it. I believe the ultimate goal of life to be the complete emancipation from all discord of every nature. And that goal is sure to be attained by all. Yes. So mothers, why are you worried about your kids? That goal is sure to be attained by your children as well as mine. I believe in that God is personal, who feel this indwelling presence. I believe in the direct revelation of truth through my intuitive and spiritual nature, and that anyone may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling God. The 91st Psalm says, "He that dwelleth in the secret place." That means stay there now. I believe that the universal spirit, which is God, operates through a universal mind, which is the law of God, and that I am surrounded by this creative mind, which receives the direct impress of my thought and acts upon it. I believe in the healing of the sick through the power of this mind. I believe in the control of conditions through the power of this mind. Now, some people don't believe in that, but I do. I believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of life to all. I believe in my own soul, my own spirit, and my own destiny, for I understand that the life I live is God. The life I live is God's. Somebody needs a bell or something because I preach with my eyes closed. I have no idea what time it is. You know, maybe you need a hook like they used to have on that. Praise God. Yes. So when my mother died, I told you that my brother set a chair out there in front of my mother's casket and said, "Mama gone to heaven now. If y'all want to see Mama again, come on up here and give your heart to God." And I thought the rest of us was dumbfounded. What is wrong with that boy? But I feel like that. I felt like that at Bobby's funeral. Like Bobby has done his work. What about you? What about you? So my call to you is practice being God. Practice being God. Just practice. If you can't get that your word is the word of God speaking through you, practice. Practice loving your enemies. Practice doing this, the Beatitude. Practice doing good to them that spitefully use you. Practice blessing those that curse you. Just practice. Nobody said the road would be easy. Lucian talked about that. Forgiveness is the only way to have relationship. I don't know a lot about golf, but there's a golf course, and two groups of men went out to play golf, and they teed off, and I'm told that one group has to wait for the others to get further down the court before they start. And then they hit the ball. And that first group got there. And they waited, and they waited, and they waited. And then the second group, they were so long getting there. And somebody said, when they got there, they said, well, what took y'all so long? They said, Harry died on the first tee. He just dropped dead and had a heart attack. So we had to hit the ball and drag Harry. And then at the next hole, we had to hit the ball and drag Harry. So some of y'all is dragging Harry. It slows you down. Harry represents your unforgiveness, your anger, your frustration. Let it go. Bless the event and stop dragging Harry. Thank you.
And so now in this moment, we remember the truth that there is no you and God. There is no us and God. There is only God. Regardless of appearances, regardless of experiences, regardless of opinions, God is the only power in existence. It is my life. It is your life. And in this life, I am declaring that there is prosperity, there is peace of mind, there is happiness, there is perfect health. There are these things and so many other things, for God is just that abundant. I send blessings to those in pain. I send blessings to those members of our congregation who are experiencing their loved ones making their transitions and all the challenges that are existing right now. I'm knowing that they pull through. I am knowing that the answer is already yes, and the victory is already reached, and this is just another experience of just how awesome God is. So I'm giving thanks for this, knowing that the universe only says yes. I'm giving thanks knowing that you cannot outgive God, because God loves to give. I'm blessing every member of our congregation, everyone inside this building, everyone outside this building, knowing that this life that we live is infinite and omnipresent. So I take my hands off of it. I take my hands off of it and I allow God's magic to work. Here it is, God. Here it is. So for this and so much more, I am truly thankful. I release and I let go. And so it is. And now is our moment for our gracious giving. This is where we get to show and express and live this truth that we all live in. Here is our offertory statement. Let's all say it together. Joyously I give with an attitude of abundance, knowing that as I give, I do receive. And so it is. So we can give by hitting the donate button right there. Of course, that's online. We can also text. And also, if you like the way I like, we can just, on our way out, place our offering right there in our basket. Right. Thank you.
Is back.
So, in the spirit of what Reverend E was talking about, we're going to skip to the closing song, which is a song that everyone, or many of you guys should know. So, we're going to hope that you will join us, please. I Need You to Survive. It's an old Joy Choir classic. Do we have the words on the screen? I need you, you need me. We're all a part of God's body. Stand with me, agree with me. We're all a part of God's body. It is God's will that every need be supplied. You are important to me. I need you to survive. We're gonna sing that one again. I need you. We're all a part of God's body. Stand with me, agree with me. We're all a part of God's body. It is God's will that every need be supplied. You are important to me. I need you to survive. Let's go to that other part. I pray for you, you pray for me. I love you, I need you to survive. I won't harm you with words from my mouth. I love you, I need you to. Come on, y'all. I pray for you, you pray for me. I love you, I need you to survive. I won't harm you with words from my mouth. I love you. Let's take it up. I pray for you, you pray for me. I love you, I need you to survive. I won't harm you with words from my mouth. I love you, I need you to survive. I pray for you, you pray for me. I love you, I need you to survive. I won't harm you with words from my mouth. I love, let's take it up one more time. Come on, help me, y'all. I pray for you, you pray for me. I love you, I need you to survive. I won't harm you with words from my mouth. I love you, I want to hear you guys sing it, come on. I pray, you pray. I love, I need you to. I won't harm you with words from my mouth. I love. Give me one more strong. I pray, you pray. I love you, I need you to. I won't harm you with words from my mouth. I love you, I need you to survive. It is God's will that every need be survived. You are important to me. I need you to survive. One more time. You are important to me. I need you to. All right.
Thank you for your attention. And this has been such an incredible service. It's hard to follow, but we have an incredible program here that I'm going to introduce to you, this month's nonprofit partner. And I just want to start by saying I have a very personal investment in sponsoring and supporting this agency. I don't know anyone, well, maybe rarely someone who hasn't been touched by cancer. And if they don't, they've certainly heard through someone about another person's been touched by cancer. And I'm one of those people. I had breast cancer in 2011. And I had kidney cancer in 2012. And here, this is actually the month and the year of my 10th anniversary. And so I came to know this agency actually through a professional connection who, at the time where I was working, they asked for help, volunteers, therapists, who I was at the one, to help out with this agency, to give volunteer time to help women who needed to be supported through their cancer process, living, some dying, but needed to have support. And this agency supports the people who didn't have a bus, the people that didn't have the money or the insurance or the financial resources to pay for therapy or to pay for other services like in-home support. So I started volunteering there for about 3 years, and it was an amazing experience to be helping people who were living and sometimes dying of cancer. And I started, I'll let Amy tell you more because she's going to describe the agency as the executive director. But the privilege of working with people at that stage of life, when everything drops away except what's really important. And I got the privilege of working with them both at the agency and going into the homes because they couldn't always get on a bus or anything else. They were too sick to do that. So I'm very honored and touched to have this be our nonprofit support partner this month. And I'd like to introduce you to Amy Eloise, who is executive director of this very special agency. Thank you.
Oh, now my glasses are gonna unfog. So it's wonderful to be here with you all today. I thought I was coming here to present. And I come and I receive an abundance of gifts from you all, so thank you. It's so wonderful to be here. I haven't been in a sanctuary since before the pandemic, and this is just love and joy, and I'm so grateful. So I am overwhelmed with the gifts that you have given me today, so thank you. And the music, incredible, so just thank you. So I'm very honored that Irina brought us here to you all today, and it's a real opportunity to share with you how our organization serves people in our community. Really what I hope that we will all leave with today is that you will know us better, and if someone in your life, a friend, a loved one, can benefit from the free services that we offer, you will send them our way. We are also 100% funded by the generosity of our community, and we have been around for 35 years. So there's lots of ways to give back and support if you would like to do that as well. So we were founded in 1986 by 4 women. All had breast cancer, and they were very frustrated with the lack of available services for them. And so 35 years later, we've grown from an information and referral line to an organization that provides cancer-based patient navigation, free psychotherapy services, support groups, information and referral and wellness classes. And really at the heart of who we are is we're a social justice organization. We are working to advance equity. We've seen a lot of disparities in the past year, and we're really proud and honored that we are able to provide all of our services free of charge. 67% of those that we serve are people of color. We serve a lot of people from the LGBTQ community, and 80% of those that we serve are low-income individuals. That number has gone up 20% in the last 18 months. We serve 2,000 people every single year. So what's really important to understand is that for most of the people that walk through our doors, or in this case, come to us virtually now, cancer is not the biggest thing that they are facing. They are facing poverty. They are facing systems of care that have failed them. They have dealt with racism. They're dealing with literacy issues. And so oftentimes when somebody walks through the door, we really need to focus on them as a whole person and help them understand how we can support them, but really listen. Allow our clients to be seen and heard. Although we have a variety of services that we provide, there is not one person that receives a service in the same way that another person does. We meet every person where they are at as a whole person. And oftentimes it means helping them find housing. It means helping them access our emergency financial assistance. Sometimes it means walking in the kitchen and opening our fridge and providing them with food and nourishment. Once we identify what services are going to work for them, We have staff that bring them along in their cancer journey, from taking patients to medical appointments. Sometimes we're translating because a client doesn't have the ability to understand what the doctor is telling them about their cancer diagnosis and treatment. Oftentimes when we're in the car with a client, we will hear on the way back from a medical appointment, "I'm hungry, I don't have food at home." And we will stop and we will have lunch with that client and we will take them to the grocery store and we will help them pick up what they need to get them through. We have counseling services, as Rena spoke about, and we do support groups, we do individual counseling. A lot of things have changed in the pandemic, but our supporting our clients hasn't, and in fact, our services have actually increased through the pandemic. So as I said earlier, we provide a comprehensive set of services, practical and emotional. What we have really seen in the last year and a half is how great the need has become for support groups and for individual services. I recall the day I was talking to a CEO of another nonprofit partner, and I thought we were going to go into shelter in place for 2 weeks. Then I thought the world was going to go back to normal. We were going to be able to bring our clients back into the building, and we would keep moving forward as a community. And that didn't happen. So over those first 2 weeks, we had to figure out how to find the right technology to reach people who didn't have access. We had to, we called clients. We got a service that allowed us to do mass text messaging to clients. And so we had to explain what the Zoom platform was. We had to help them understand that it was confidential and they didn't have to be fearful about doing a support group in a virtual environment. And then we trained individuals on, we called people, we met with people, we showed them safely how to access our services virtually so that they could still be receiving the support that they needed really during the pandemic. And then, of course, everything shifted. So we were no longer just looking at people who were dealing with cancer, but we were looking at families and individuals who were seeing really dire situations in their own families. We were seeing really all over the media the disparities with COVID and how it was impacting our communities. So in our sister-to-sister support group, often the question was, or the comments were, people like me are dying more than other people. It's not fair. I'm angry. And so we really spent a lot of time focusing on just how all of our coming together, how we could come together to support each other through what has been a really tough year. So we serve everyone who has a cancer diagnosis who could benefit. We do serve men. So we do have emergency financial assistance grants, and about 45% of those go to low-income men. The majority of the clients that we serve in person are Berkeley, Oakland-based because that's where we have our deepest roots, but we serve all of Alameda and Contra Costa County. And in fact, in the virtual environment, we've actually been able to serve our clients who have had to relocate out of the Bay Area because of affordability of staying here. And what else do I want to share with you? There's lots of good stuff. So I think if I could say this, the pandemic for us created opportunities. It created opportunities to look at ourselves differently and to understand how we could impact the world and our community in a better way. And really for us, the technology that I think we were really afraid of as an organization prior to the pandemic really created an opportunity for us to open our center in a way that allows people to come from really wherever. We have seen an increase in our support groups, and what the individuals have shared with us is that transportation has sometimes been an issue for people to get to our center, the bus line that you referenced. People are sometimes going through side effects of chemotherapy and they're too ill to get in their car and drive in Bay Area traffic that we all know is just terrible. And so the support groups have given people the flexibility to be connected to the women and their groups without having to leave the comfort of their home, their couch, their bed. And
I would say for the first 3 months in the virtual shift, we saw a decrease in people who were accessing individual counseling services in our free therapy program. And part of that was because people didn't understand how individual counseling was going to happen via Zoom. But once we figured it all out, we really have seen an increase, and we're focusing on bringing more diversity into that program. So we now have 4 languages that are spoken in our free therapy program, and we've been able to maintain our program without a wait list, which is incredible. So where do we go from here as an organization? Well, we can't go back to being in-person only because we can't remove access, and we know that we have a chance to serve people better in a virtual environment. So we had hoped to open our center in October in person, and because of the surge in the variant, we are making a decision to keep things virtual with our clients' blessing. But our goal is that when we reopen later this year or early next year, we are going to be a center that welcomes people into our building as well as ensures that everything that we offer in person, people will have access to virtually. So that's really, really important to us as well. And I think I want to close, I'm mindful of my time here. I think I want to close with telling you the story of, we serve 2,000 people a year, so I feel very fortunate that I know many stories. But I want to talk to you about Crystal. And what I want to share about Crystal is that, she came to our center one day, knocked on the door. She had just gotten out of Kaiser, had treatment. She was diagnosed with leukemia. She still had her port in. And she wasn't quite sure why she was at our center. She just knew that her social worker referred her. And so she walked in and she said, I'm here. They asked me to come check it out. What are you all about? And so, I walked her through the building. I told her about all of our services. And, I will acknowledge that when I met her, she was somebody who was very closed off. She was really struggling. And so as we talked about the art classes and as we talked about the yoga classes, I just started to see something happen in her. She was standing up taller. She started to make eye contact with me. She was smiling. And we sat down in my office, and she said to me when I talked to her about the therapy program, she said, I think I could really benefit from that. I'm really depressed. She said, I have just told my employer that I have cancer and I lost my job. She said, I've been staying at my aunt's house sometimes, but I'm also living in my car. And she says, and I'm Latina and I want to have children, and I'm afraid that chemotherapy is going to rob me of that. She was 24. Oh my gosh. So I encouraged her to get connected to our services. We were having an art class that night, and I waited because I was hoping that she would come back. And she did come back. And she made this beautiful, beautiful goddess warrior collage in an art class. And on her way out that day, she said, I am going to beat this, and I am so grateful that you are a community resource. And that was 2.5 years ago. She is thriving, and she is still benefiting from our services now. And we helped her find housing. We've been able to provide therapy for her. We've been able to help her get a job, all of these things. So that's just kind of one example. Every single person that walks through the door is met with the same kind of love and respect. But again, if you know somebody in your community, and maybe you don't yet, but just remember us, because you probably will. Statistically, you will probably meet somebody in your life or love somebody that has been impacted by cancer. Even if our services aren't the services you think might be right for them, we have a ton of resources. We have navigators who have been doing this work with us for 30 years. And so think about us, refer that individual to us, and even if we're not the right place, we will help them on their journey. So thank you so much for allowing me to be here today. I'm going to be outside. Would love to meet you or ask any questions, and I will more than likely come back again just because the experience here with you all was just so wonderful. Thank you for having me.
I love Women's Cancer Resource Center. It's a place special to my heart. I'll let you go outside and find out more. So thank you all for attending. Thank you to everyone who made this service possible. And if you would like prayer, I want you to rush out this door over to the social hall, and Dorothy Mendez will direct you. And actually, we want you all to leave as quickly as possible after the service out these two doors. And so now we have our closing affirmation. There it is. Let's read it together. I transcend to the totality of all, inclusion made manifest. And so it is. And thank you for our closing song that we already heard.